Holy crap, people. It has been quite some time since I have played a WWE game on my stream for you guys. Welcome to WWE 2K19 Universe Mode. It's your boy Jay here, Jago107, the Gaming Ninja, the Howling White Wolf of YouTube. Now, over the last few weeks, I have been trying to get things set up for me doing the Universe Mode. Those of you who remember the Universe Mode videos I did for WWE 2K17 will remember the kind of storylines that I had going in that, and I'm basically just going to pick up where I left off with that, although I'm going to be still integrating current WWE storylines in with my own stuff, and of course other things. Let's go into the shows section here. I have this nice custom logo for Raw. The only problem is it's too small compared to the SmackDown logo. Yes, I got Warzone back. Somebody, I guess it's the same person who made it in the previous games. They made the logo, and they made their own custom arena for it. And yes, have NXT and 205 Live, of course. I've also gone to the liberty of finding custom championships or custom versions of the titles. Bork Laser is still Universal Champion, but we got a nice new version of the Universal Championship belt. The strap is black, as a wrestling title belt should be. I really hate the trend that's going on in current day WWE, where they have red belts and blue belts and white belts and pink belts, and eat my ass with all your different colored belts. It's a fucking wrestling title belt. The belt should be fucking black. The centerpieces and the side plates should be gold. Period. If it ain't black and gold, it ain't a fucking good title belt. Eat ass. Your red belts for the tag titles, and your blue belts for the tag titles, and your white belts for the Intercontinental belt and the fucking women's titles. Speaking of the Intercontinental title belt, found a nice custom version, although it's kind of like the classic belt with a new spin on it. I think I actually had to customize it myself to make the actual strap black. But either way, it looks better, I think, than the actual current belt that they've been using. Bobby Lashley is, of course, still the Intercontinental Champion after he was Intercontinental Champion. He was beaten by Finn Balor. Balor had the belt for like a week or something, and then lost it back to Bobby Lashley for no real reason. Don't know why they decided to do that, but Bobby Lashley is your Intercontinental Champion right now. You have the Revival, finally, as Raw Tag Team Champions. Got custom version of the tag team title belts. As you can see, they look like the classic WWF, like 90s era tag team titles with the Raw logo. The only problem is, now that I have that new custom logo for Raw, it doesn't match what's on the belt. Oh well, I don't care. But I think it looks better, and once again, black strap for the belt, black leather, very nice. You can see the or the red in the bannering, that part that says Tag Team Wrestling Champions, very nice. And then we of course have this piece of crap as Raw Women's Champion, and custom version of the Raw Women's Championship belt, which looks again like the old WWE Women's Championship belt, with a red background and red background on the side plates. It's basically like an updated version of the old belt with the modern, sharp WWE logo. I hate the new logo. But yeah. So those are your current champions in Raw. And then we move over to SmackDown. And you'll see much the same. Daniel Bryan is your World Heavyweight Champion. Found a different version of the World Heavyweight title belt. Again, it's the same layout, but it's got much more nice, intricate detailing in the centerpiece. Looks much nicer. And I absolutely hate Bryan's custom belt that he has, his eco-friendly belt that he has on SmackDown right now. I also hate his current heel character. Fuck that shit. Fuck that gimmick. Fuck that character. He's actually set as a babyface in my game, and he will remain that way. That storyline is trash. And so is the storyline they have with Kofi Kingston. Kofi doesn't belong anywhere near the fucking world title. Period. He's a joke comedy guy. The only reason he wound up in the fucking Elimination Chamber match, I'm gonna rant about this because I fucking hate this storyline. The only reason he wound up in the fucking Elimination Chamber match is because Mustafa Ali got injured, and he didn't even belong in that match either. Cruiserweight motherfucker. Keep him away from the fucking world titles. You're a cruiserweight, you belong on 205 Live, eat shit. Samoa Joe is your United States champion. I haven't found a really good custom version of the US title, although the one they actually have is still fairly nice. It's probably one of the only really good belts in the WWE. I believe the Usos are actually the current SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Yes, there was the whole stupid storyline where The Miz and Shane McMahon teamed together. And they won the SmackDown Tag titles, I think, from the Usos, who then won the titles back. And after the Usos won the titles back, Shane turns heel and beats the shit out of The Miz. Yeah, that happened at the pay-per-view that just happened, Fastlane. What in the fuck? And again, as you can see, the custom version of the tag titles, it's basically the same design as the Raw custom ones, only it has SmackDown Live over the thing, and it has blue bannering the Tag Team Wrestling Champions, and then on the side plates as well. But still, they look better than the actual current tag titles. Once again, the current tag titles have like these silvery centerpiece and side plates. They look like crap. They're weak. And then again, of course, Asuka, your current SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Again, the custom version of the belt. It's the same design with a blue background instead of a red background. So that's all good there. NXT. I didn't bother getting custom versions of the NXT belts because I don't give a rat's ass about NXT. I had to download this ugly son of a bitch because he would not sign the agreement to actually appear in the game legitimately. Yes, the reason why, I almost called him Johnny Gargano, but no, that's this guy. The only reason Tommaso Ciampa was not in this game officially as an actual character, instead of me having to download his sorry ass on the fucking Community Creations, the only reason he wasn't in the game is because he didn't want to. He didn't think he was being paid enough to be in the game. Yeah, fuck you, Ciampa. You suck anyways. Fuck you. This guy's ugly. I don't think he's a very good wrestler. Fuck this motherfucker. Oh, and the recent storyline development that him and Gargano and Ricochet and Aleister Black coming up to the main roster, that's not happening in my universe either. Those guys should not be coming up yet. And they only really did it to boost ratings. Yeah, especially considering I don't think Ciampa has lost the NXT title. And he actually just got a neck injury, which means he's going to be out for several months. So, that sucks. Gargano lost the North American Championship, I believe, to that horrible gimmicked piece of crap, what's his name? McFruity, McFagaloon, I don't know what his name is. Velveteen Dream, that's his name. Horrible gimmick. Horrible gimmick. He sucks. His gimmick is shit, his mic skills are shit, his wrestling is shit. He sucks. And I don't know why people like him so much. But apparently Gargano lost the North American title to Velveteen Dream. I'm not recognizing that. Fuck that. We have the War Raiders, a couple of big ugly motherfuckers, as NXT Tag Champions. They're faces somehow, despite the fact you look at these guys, they look like heels. These guys look like the two big, like, fat hoss guys that would be heels. You know? But apparently they come in and they just destroy people, but the crowd loves it. So they're like, okay, fuck, we're faces. And then this ugly thing has the NXT Women's title. This is Shayna Baszler, a friend of Ronda Rousey, and another former UFC or MMA competitor. And the two of them, Baszler and Ronda, plus another two ladies who are in NXT, who I had to download as well, make up the Four Horsewomen of MMA, which I think they all suck. So, yeah. 205 Live, you only have the Cruiserweight title, which, of course, I had to download the custom version with a black belt and gold plates, because the purple belt with silver or white plates doesn't look like a good title. And Buddy Murphy, who is the current Cruiserweight champion, who I also had to download, because even though he's been in the company for a good few years, and he's been in previous games, wasn't in this one for some reason. Don't know. This guy also happens to be married to Alexa Bliss, if you didn't already know. Doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but I just figured I'd point that out. Then on Warzone, yes, I got a fairly decent creation of Judas Macias, or Ricky Banderas, whatever you want to call him, who I then renamed to Victor Craven. Once again, this goes back to my years and years ago, like when I first started doing YouTube. I tried to do a playthrough of a game called TEW 2014 or 20, I don't know what fucking year it was. It's a text-based pro wrestling booking simulator kind of game, where you get to control hiring and firing people, booking the matches, who wins and loses, who gets titles, who gets pushed, all that kind of stuff. I did mine as a rebirth of the very short-lived company called Wrestling Society X, which had about 10 episodes on MTV, probably a good decade or so ago. And Judas Macias, or Ricky Banderas as he was known, he was fighting over the world title with Vampiro, who you might remember from WCW way back before it went under. My own rebirth, I had some ideas of changing Judas into this character, Victor Craven, which it really wasn't much of a different character from what he usually does. It was just a different name. And he was going to be accompanied by Kevin Thorne, who you'll remember from the crappy WWE version of ECW. The vampire guy, accompanied by Ariel, the she was like a tarot card reader or some shit. I don't know. She has the Wrestling Society X women's title. He's got the European title, and he of course has the world title. And then I have the Ascension as the tag team champions, and my boy Jago here as the hardcore champion. I wanted to have the hardcore title on multiple shows, and it would be like a cross-brand, completely all over the WWE, like anybody could challenge to it from any show. but the game wouldn't let me do that. But yeah, I have this nice, I think I actually downloaded a version of Jago and then customized the shit out of him to make him look as you see here, which he looks much more close to what he looked like in the original Killer Instinct games, not so much the new one, because he looks like crap in the new game. He's huge, he's roided up. He was supposed to be like, not scrawny, because he was obviously ripped and muscly, but he wasn't this huge, jacked, looking like the Incredible Hulk motherfucker that you see in... Okay, my cat is howling, and I guess she's getting ready to puke. Oh well. Either way, there's your title situation on Warzone, Wrestling Society X, whatever it is. But yeah. Also, rivalries. On Raw, I have a couple of feuds set up, and a couple of these you're going to recognize from WWE TV. Of course, right now, we have the feud going between Brock Lesnar, who hardly ever shows up, and Seth Rollins, who's there every freaking week, but whatever. They're feuding over the Universal title, and hopefully Rollins is going to be the guy to take the damn belt away from Lesnar, and then Lesnar can just fuck off and leave the company. I'll get back to that one in a second. And then, of course, there's the huge feud, which is overshadowing pretty much everything else that happens on Raw right now, and that's Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. Becky, who wasn't even supposed to be in the Women's Royal Rumble, but replaced an injured Lana, who was attacked, I think, backstage before the Rumble. Becky had a match earlier on in the show against Asuka over the SmackDown Women's title and lost. And then again, Becky took the Lana's spot in the Rumble match and ended up winning the whole damn thing. The game does not allow for three-way feuds, so I can't really interject Charlotte into this one, but it's better that way anyways. She doesn't belong in this feud. Yeah. The other feud that I have here, as you'll notice, that's Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, who are actually a tag team, I think, currently in the WWE. However, they were really just kind of thrown together because creative didn't really have anything for them to do separately. In my idea, after Roode and Gable, I think they were Raw Tag Team Champions, and I think they were actually the ones who lost to the Revival. So, in my mind, when they lost, Roode snapped, turned heel, beat the shit out of Gable, left him lying, and Roode decided to fuck off and go heel. And Roode, I also have set up to have a manager. A lady who's in the company who right now is doing fucking pointless nothingness. You may know who I'm talking about. Her name is Lacey Evans. She comes out randomly, walks down the aisle, and she wears like these old-timey, like she dresses like the old-timey 50s era, you know, like the nice dresses and like the little hat that she wears off the side of her fucking head. She has this very like old school glamour kind of look to her. And then when she wrestles, she wears like this outfit that makes her look like a sailor, you know, the stereotypical sailor with the little bow tie thing and the little... It's really dumb. But either way, I have her paired up with Roode, and she's going to act as his manager because, I'll be totally honest with you, I've never thought Bobby Roode has been all that good at promos. Ever. Even back when he was in TNA, I've never thought he's had all that much charisma or mic skills. He needs somebody to talk for him. I don't think he's really that great of a wrestler either. But he's really boring. This motherfucker has probably the best entrance song in the company right now, and he does nothing with it. He comes out, on this little lazy Susan thing that spins around, and he just stands there in his little Jesus pose, and he spins around, and he's wearing this robe that's just a rip-off of Ric Flair's robes, because that's basically what Rude has done most of his career, especially considering he actually was paired with Ric Flair in TNA for a while. But he comes out and he just walks slowly to the ring. He doesn't really do anything. Like, the fucking crowd singing the lyrics to the song. Why the fuck isn't he? If I had that song, I'd be fucking singing it. I'd be, yeah, motherfucker, this is good. Nope, he's just boring as shit, doing nothing. Moving on to SmackDown. As I mentioned before, the story with Kofi going after the world title, not happening here. Sorry. Kofi, you're a joke, and you don't belong in the world title division. Period. You had your chance a few years ago, and you blew it. So, Daniel Bryan is still a face in my universe mode. Kevin Owens is now a heel, and I split him up by default in the universe mode. Him and Sami Zayn are a tag team, since they were before the two of them both got injured and had to go away for a while. I decided to have Owens as a heel. Sammy's actually on Raw. Don't know what I'm going to do with him, probably not much. But Bryan is defending against Owens. And then in the tag division, neither one of those teams has the tag belts. This is really just to set up something that I really wish I could do, but I can't because the game is just not made well enough. What I really want to do with this is I'm trying to have the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, break up with Sheamus going heel, which I already have him set as a heel anyways, and Cesaro's set as a face, and then the team of Nakamura and Rusev are both heels. What I really want to have happen is Sheamus snaps, turns heel, beats the crap out of Cesaro after they lose a match on SmackDown or whatever, or a pay-per-view maybe, and Cassius Ohno, who I also have set to be on SmackDown, and I also have him set as being allies with Cesaro. I want him to come down and save Cesaro from the beatdown, chase off Sheamus. And then we see the forming of a new team, Cesaro and Ohno, because if you know your history, the two of them on the indies before they came to the WWE, you had Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli, were known as the Kings of Wrestling. So I want to see a reforming of that tag team. I'd really like to see it actually happen like that with the cutscenes that are in the universe mode, but you can't like trigger them manually, which kind of sucks because I'd really love to do that. And then Samoa Joe just won the US title, and Randy decided to pop out of nowhere and give him a fucking RKO, so they're gonna feud. NXT, the girl there on the right is actually one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA. I can't remember if that's Marina Shafir or if that's the other girl. But the one she's feuding against, I think, is Io Shirai, or maybe that's Kairi Sane. I can't tell. These feuds that are here formed naturally in the game. Right now, the game is in, or the universe mode has been fast forwarded to the month of April, getting close to right before WrestleMania, since that's where we are right now in the actual WWE universe. The game, when you start out, is several months back in, I don't know what friggin' month, but I had to simulate it all the way through all that to get up to Mania time and get stuff set up for Mania. The War Raiders are feuding against TM61, which I believe one of the TM61 guys actually got released from NXT and no longer works for the WWE. So I don't really care. There's actually a few other people that have been released that I still have in the universe mode just because I don't really give a shit. And then there's Velveteen Dream feuding against whoever the other guy is. I think that's Dominic Dozovic, I think is his name. There's a bunch of frickin' no-namer motherfuckers in NXT. I looked up the rosters in preparation for all of this, and I'm writing down these names, and I'm looking at, because I'm looking on my phone at the WWE website, and I'm like, who the hell are all these nobodies that I'm looking at? I'm like, whatever, download them. They were all fortunately on the community creation, so I was able to get them all. I don't really care about NXT, so it can do whatever the fuck it wants. Over on 205 Live, Buddy Murphy is feuding, I guess, over the title with, trying to remember his name. This is another guy I had to download. He's actually signed to NXT, but he also does stuff on 205 Live because he is a cruiserweight. What's his name? He's a Latin guy. I'm not sure what country he's from. Humberto Carrillo is his name. Yeah. And then you have Gentleman Jack Gallagher versus Arya Davari, who apparently is not related to Khosrow Davari, the guy who used to accompany Muhammad Hassan. And then this one that I set up, Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara, because the WWE's been wanting to do that feud for a while to kind of establish Sin Cara as the new masked Latin luchador guy. They just haven't bothered to get around to it. And then in Warzone, we of course have Victor Craven versus Vampiro fighting over the world title. And once again, going back to my TEW videos as well as my videos in 2K17, you'll remember that I had a character who was supposed to be, it's the same person as EC3, Ethan Carter III. I can't believe he kept that name when he came to the WWE. Ethan Carter III, backstory, not that many people care or want to know it or need to know it. Ethan Carter III was a character who started in TNA, was supposed to be the nephew of Dixie Carter, the bitch who runs TNA. I'm pretty sure she's still in control of TNA right now, although I'm not sure about that. That guy was Derek Bateman, who used to work for the WWE on NXT back when NXT was a frickin' game show. In my TEW thing, I had that same guy changed into this other character that I created to oppose Victor Craven. His name was going to be Michael Lucian. And if you don't recognize the names, it comes from the Underworld series of movies, the vampires and werewolves things with Kate Beckinsale. She was the big name actress in those. She played Celine, who I also had a character named Celine that was going to be the same person as Maxine from back in also NXT back when it was still a frickin' game show. Didn't bother with that here, as since EC3 is already in the game, I ain't gonna bother fucking around trying to change him around into this other character. So I found another character, Sebastian Wolf. Now, that's not actually his original name. I found this guy on the community creations. I can't take any of the credit for creating him. I had found him, I believe, in the 2K18 community creations. I never actually streamed 2K18. I never really played it either. I had a big frickin' problem with that game. When it first came out, I tried buying a copy of the game. You know, normal physical copy, disc-based, all that shit. I got 3 different copies of that game. I ended up having to Because the first one I got, I come back, install it on my thing, I try to play the game. The game freezes and says there's some sort of disk read error. So I'm like, okay, take the disc out, I look at it, there's no scratches. I have a cleaning cloth, I wipe it off, put it back in, try again. It still comes up with some disk read error. So I'm like, okay, there must just be something wrong with the disc. So I take it back to GameStop. At the time, I had a friend who worked there as a manager, and she helped me. She just gave me another new copy of the game. They took the one I had, gave me a new one. And these were brand new copies of the game, plastic around the box and everything. So, I don't know what the hell. I went through 3 different copies of the damn game. All of them had the same disk read error. So I just decided, screw it, I'll just buy the digital download version of the game, completely eliminate the disc from the problem. It actually did work after that, so I don't know why I never really got around to streaming it. I just never really was in the mood. It's a pain in the ass setting all this shit up, having to download people, reconfigure them to the way I want them to be. I actually did have to customize this Sebastian Wolf guy. His last name actually was Wolf, but he had a different first name. I don't remember what it was. But if you just type in the community creations, just type in the name Wolf, spelled the same way there with the E on the end, and if you look through all of the results, you should find the guy. He looks just like that. I didn't change his appearance very much, aside from there was a couple of logos on him. I think it said the word Chaos. I removed those because I didn't know why the fuck they were on there. And I changed his first name to Sebastian. But he's going to be my replacement of Michael Lucien. And he's right now in a feud, or going to be starting a feud, with Kevin Thorne over the European title. And then he's going to end up working his way up to dethroning Craven from the world title. And then we, of course, have the Ascension versus Heath Slater and Rhino, because why the fuck not? So there's the rivalries. Tag teams. In NXT, you have these guys. I don't even... Marcel Barthel and I can't remember the other guy's first name. Something Eichner. I decided to team Jordan and Gable back up and reform American Alpha. The Ascension, of course. The Authors of Pain. The B-Team. The Bar. Bellas. Breezango. The British American Alliance. Believe that's Oni Lorcan on the left. And the other guy, I don't know. Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan. Yeah. Oh yeah, here, I can check this. Fabian Eichner and Marcel Barthel. The Club, I decided to take them away, or rename them from being, I don't remember if it was the Good Brothers, or if it was just Anderson and Gallows, but I decided to rename them as the Club, and I put AJ in there. Originally, I was going to have AJ be the one who's feuding with Daniel Bryan over the world title, and it was going to be the classic babyface of, or the classic story of the babyface trying to overcome the heel faction. And then I was like, maybe not. And then I was thinking I would do instead maybe something with the Wyatt family, because I've decided to reform them as well. But I'm like, Bryan already feuded with Bray Wyatt, so The Colognes, of course. This is another one from NXT, the 3-man stable of the Forgotten Sons. Wesley Blake used to team with Buddy Murphy. They were known as Blake and Murphy in NXT. I don't know if they ever had the NXT tag titles, but they were managed by Alexa Bliss. They were actually the reason Alexa went heel originally and had this new character, because before then She had been this smiling, happy-go-lucky babyface cheerleader chick, and it just didn't work, so she decided to go heel. Whatever. Oh, the other two guys, Jackson Riker and Steve Cutler. Don't know which one's which. Blake, though, I believe, is the one on the far right. Maybe. Don't know. Slater and Rhino. Heavy Machinery, you have Tucker Knight and Otis Dozovich. The Iconics. The Covenant is the big heel faction with Victor Craven, Kevin Thorne, Gangrel, Ariel, and manager James Mitchell. The Lucha House Party, who are Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, and Kalisto. The New Day, the Revival, the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan. Sanity, I had to download Nikki Cross because for some reason she wasn't in the game. The Street Profits, Titus Worldwide. The update on them was taking Dana Brooke out of the group because apparently she split off from them. I think I put her back on NXT because she got called up way too early and she really needs some time to work. Yeah. Shane Thorne and Nick Miller. I don't remember which one it was that got released by the company, but it doesn't matter. The Undisputed Era. 4 fucking jabroni-ass motherfuckers who should have kept their punk asses in Ring of Honor. That's my opinion on these motherfuckers. Adam Cole, the ugly son of a bitch in the top left with the long hair and the scruffy beard. This motherfucker is so overrated. He was in Ring of Honor for a while. He was a member of the Bullet Club for a while before he got kicked out. And you really need to understand the gravity of how bad you have to be kicked out of the Bullet Club without, like, any real build-up. Like, yeah. He sucks, and he's overrated as fuck. The Usos, the War Raiders, the Wyatts, and yes, that's all the current versions of them, although they have past versions of Bray, Harper, and Rowan. And then that's all of the tag teams and factions. And then looking through the the superstars, you have Adam Cole, of course. Aiden English. Don't know why he's enemies with Jeff Hardy, probably some of the sim shit. AJ. Oh yeah, that's the feud. Well, I didn't have the feud set up, but I have them set as enemies. I was going to have the club feuding with the Wyatt family, so it would be a 3-on-3 faction war. Half of the Authors of Pain. Akira Tozawa, one of the cruiserweights on 205 Live. Aleister Black. Skank. Alexander Wolf. Talentless piece of shit. Aaliyah, who I'm not sure if I had to download her or not. I think I did. We have Classic Legend Superstars and then Andrade Cien Almas. Zelina Vega. When I first saw her, I thought I recognized her. And then I realized where I recognized her from. She used to be a wrestler in TNA. And she went by the name Rosita, I think. She was half of a team with... can't remember who the other chick was. It was a pair of Latin ladies. They were supposed to be like cousins or something. I don't know. Then, of course, I had to make my girl Angel. Gave her the last name of Hart. Yeah. And apparently she's been on a roll in the simulation. She's been winning some matches. Probably because her stats are maxed. Went with a little bit different idea for her appearance in this game. Yeah. One half of the Street Profits, Apollo Crews, Ariel, Davari, Asuka, more legends, and then this dumb motherfucker. A little bit of a rant here. Baron Corbin fucking sucks. And he's also apparently a huge asshole backstage. This guy rants on his Twitter page and gets his dumbass into trouble. And this guy is supposedly going to be Kurt Angle's last match at WrestleMania. Now, I couldn't give a flying fuck about Kurt Angle, because I've never liked Kurt Angle. But if you're going to use Kurt Angle's last match to put someone over, it should be somebody who actually deserves it, not this piece of shit. Baron Blade, fuck. If you've played the 2K games from the last couple of years, you know who this is. He only really exists in the career mode or the My Story mode in the game. He doesn't exist. He's not a real character. And it's stupid that they even include him. The My Career mode that they have in the game for 2K19 is dumb as fuck. Like, the one good idea they have is using like an indie promotion for where your character starts. But it's a completely fake, made-up indie promotion. And it's a complete joke, the whole storyline they put you through. You have Batista's lame ass, an older version of his lame ass, Bayley. I can't believe I don't have Bayley and Sasha Banks set up as a tag team. I should probably do that. The one thing you'll probably notice by its absence is the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Those will not exist in my playthrough. Ever. The women's division doesn't deserve tag belts. They don't need them. Both divisions together are a joke anyways, because there's hardly enough talented wrestlers in the division to actually carry the two belts, let alone a third set for the tag titles. The WWE used to have women's tag titles a long time ago, and they retired them because there was no point. And there's still not a point. So, no, they will not exist in my universe. Period. Becky Lynch, of course. Beth Phoenix, who is apparently coming out of retirement. Not going to happen in my universe. But in the current WWE storyline, she's teaming with Natalya, her former tag team partner. They were what? Pinup Strong, I think was what they called themselves. And they're going to be feuding against two of the biggest pieces of shit in the women's division. My phone is ringing for some reason. But they are going to be teaming against two of the biggest pieces of shit in the women's division. Tamina Snuka and Nia Jax. Who are shit. Shit wrestlers, shit at promos. I don't know how Tamina has managed to keep a job so long in the company. She's lousy. And Nia Jax is even worse. Nia Jax was another one that they brought up from NXT way too early. And that's where I decided to put them. They're both in NXT. And they will stay there. Bianca Belair. I think she was actually in the game. I think. I don't think I had to download her. She has this ridiculously long ponytail. I haven't seen much of her but what I have seen of her, she's not very good. More legends. Big E, The Big Show, Billie Kay, half of the Iconics, Blow Dallas, Bobby Fish, Bobby Lashley, Bobby Roode. Yes, there's the manager. There's the stereotypical sailor outfit that I was talking about, the bow tie kind of thing, and she has the classic old school hairdo. Yeah. Strowman. He was injured, so I had him off all the rosters. I should actually probably go ahead and put him back on Raw. And I don't know if I want to have him be enemies with Brock, but don't really care. Bray Wyatt, old Bray Wyatt, Bret Hart, Bella, British Bulldog, Brock Dipshit, Brutus Beefcake, old Bryan Danielson. Yes, they actually call him Bryan Danielson, which is his real name. And this was his first appearance on WWE programming, I believe. He wrestled against John Cena in a match that was on Velocity, which was an old show that WWE had 10 years or so ago, maybe 15 years actually. Buddy Murphy, Candice LeRae, she's in NXT. Carmella, she's going to be the manager of R-Truth because that somehow happened. I don't know how the fuck, but whatever. Cedric Alexander, Caesar Bononi, some guy I had to download for NXT. Again, I had never heard of him. Cesaro, Gable, Charlotte. I don't know why Charlotte is still feuding with the Iconics. Yes, that's how they made their debut on the main roster, but they're both set as heels, so they shouldn't be feuding. I'm noticing that in the simulation, for some reason, they keep having faces feuding with faces and heels feuding with other heels. Stupid. Chris Jericho has signed with All Elite Wrestling, and he won't be in my game. Old Jericho, less old Jericho. Christian, who hasn't been active in the WWE in several years now, I have him assigned to Warzone. Cole Quinn, another guy from the My Career mode. He doesn't exist. Kurt Hawkins. There's another team that I have to. Actually, I have them set to do that on their own. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder have reformed their old tag team. Now, I've always kind of liked Kurt Hawkins because I think he's a good wrestler. I've never given a fuck about Zack Ryder, though. But whatever. Curtis Axel, the son of Mr. Perfect, who's nothing like his father. Dakota Kai, I believe she's actually in the game, not a downloadable or community creations download. Dana Brooke. Oh yeah. D-Bry. Old D-Bry. Another one, and another one. I guess there's a big showcase mode that centers around Daniel Bryan, his career through the WWE, and that's why there's all these different versions of him. And all these different versions of Bray Wyatt, and Kane, and all these other people that Bryan has had dealings with throughout his career. The Miz, John Cena, Danny Burch, we already saw him. Apparently Burch and Eichner are feuding with the Forgotten Sons. Dash Wilder, half of the Revival, DDP, Ambrose, I have him enemies with EC3. They were starting kind of a feud, and then it just kind of got aborted because EC3 has been jobbing on Main Event or Superstars or one of those C-level shows. They brought EC3 up from NXT way too early. He probably should still be there, because he didn't fucking do anything in NXT. Like, he had this big debut, and then nothing really happened. He didn't win any titles, and then he comes up to the main roster and does fuck all. Don't even know what the fuck. Another girl from NXT, Ziggler. I'm having him feuding with Drew McIntyre because I feel like the two of them need to settle that beef. I don't know if that ever really got settled. The two of them used to be partners, And then Ziggler got sick of McIntyre's shit, and Ziggler went face, I think. Either way. Dominik Dijakovic. Whatever. Drew Gulak. Drew McIntyre. The not-so-psychotic Scotsman. They call him the Scottish psychopath. He ain't a fucking psychopath, he's a bitch. Drew McIntyre fucking sucks, and he always has. Dusty Rhodes, there's EC3, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, El Mago, another one from the My Career mode, Elias, another piece of shit who's a nobody, Ember Moon. Oh right, I have her on Warzone as well. I was thinking, like, how the hell is she feuding with that one girl who's actually from NXT? And Mickie James, yeah. Epico, Eric Young. Good old EY finally managed to make his way into the WWE. This goofy-ass Sanity group. Old version of Rowan, Fandango, Finn Balor, and the Finn Balor Demon. They still can't figure out how to get the two of these in the same, like, character slot. Like, it really should just be... Because the problem I have with it is, if you have the two of them as different characters, number one, they can be in the same match with each other, which is just weird as fuck. And number two, the Demon is just a different form of Balor. It's kind of like Cactus Jack and Dude Love and Mankind were the different versions of Mick Foley. It's all the same guy, it's just different, like, personas. And the Demon is just Balor's feud persona. Like, if you piss him off, he goes demon on you. It's not a different person, it's his angry mode, you know? And the reason it sucks is because in the universe mode, what are you supposed to do? Have him feuding with somebody and then at the pay-per-view you switch it so it's the Demon? The game won't automatically do it. Not to mention the fact that the Demon actually has a lower overall score. No, he doesn't. I could have swore the Demon actually had a lower overall score than the other Finn Balor, which is funny because I think both of them are still kind of low. 86 and an 87. The Demon should be a good few points up over original Balor. Gangrel, Jack Gallagher, The Godfather, Goldberg. Goldust, who for some reason is a heel now. Through the simulation in the universe mode, he had a feud with The Undertaker for some reason. Don't know why that happened. Grand Metalik, Greg Valentine. I am amazed that he actually made his way into a WWE game. By all accounts, he was kind of shit. Half of the War Raiders, Harper, that dickhead, Hideo Itami, who actually asked for his release from the company and was given it. I actually did take him off the roster. Jago is probably going to be using his theme music, so I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be using his own theme music, so, I don't know. Humberto Carrillo, Io Shirai, Ivory and Jacqueline, there's Jago, Jake the Snake Roberts, James Mitchell. James Mitchell should not be on the roster because he's a manager. I can't figure out how to set him as just a manager, because the game is kind of borked that way. Even though there actually are people that are designated as only managers, you cannot You cannot set them as wrestlers. Well, I mean, you can actually set them as wrestlers if you customize them, but by default, they are only managers and can only be used as managers. Paul Heyman is one of them, for Brock, of course. Who else? I think they have Bobby Heenan in the game, because Mr. Perfect is in the game, and Heenan was always Mr. Perfect's manager. They have a bunch of Zelina Vega, there's a Z, not an S. She actually does wrestle, though. She was in the Women's Royal Rumble, dressed as Vega from Street Fighter. Or, yeah, he was from Street Fighter. Anyways, Jason Jordan, Jackson Riker, Jessamine Duke. That's the other girl. And that was the girl who's feuding with Io Shirai on NXT. Her name is Jessamine Duke. Very weird name, Jessamine. The other girl's name is Marina Shafir. Uso 1 and 2, and Neidhart, and the other Uso 1 and 2. Jobber Mahal, punk bitch that he is. Cena. I don't have him set to any of the rosters because he's not really doing anything right now in the WWE, and I fucking hate him, so he's not gonna be in my universe mode. Old Cena, the one that fought Bryan Danielson on Velocity, that's I think the reason why he's there. Don't know about that one. Johnny Gargano, Kairi Sane, Kalisto, current Kane, who I have not set to anything because Glenn Jacobs, the guy who plays the Kane character, became mayor in Knox County in Tennessee where he lives. He really fucking shouldn't still be wrestling. He's got mayoral duties he needs to be doing. I have him being retired. Old Kane, which... whatever the fuck. Classic Kane. Carl Anderson. Cassius Ohno. Kevin Owens, Old Owens, Kevin Thorne, Killian Dane of Sanity, King Booker, Kofi, Old Kofi, Kona Reeves, who's another guy in NXT, Connor of the Ascension, Old Kurt Angle, slightly less old Kurt Angle. They don't have a current Kurt Angle. And I'm not going to bother downloading one because I don't fucking care about Kurt Angle. Kyle O'Reilly of the Undisputed Era. There's Lacey Evans. Lana. Lars Sullivan, this big ugly bastard. Lynn Storado. Leo Rush. Lita, Liv Morgan. Gallows. Old Harper. Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose has been feuding with Naomi because, for some reason, Mandy wants the Uso brother that Naomi is married to. And this is mixing real-life shit with kayfabe shit. So I have them feuding. I'm still trying to figure out how the frickin' thing in this actually works. When you set someone as an enemy, are they more enemies if they're towards the left of the screen or towards the right? I don't know how it works, and I don't think there's anywhere that actually explains it. So, yeah. Hold on a second, let me check that. Beat my enemy. I don't like Naomi. Yeah. I don't know how that works, but whatever. Oh yeah. Another curious thing that I've noticed looking through here. When you go through their things for the universe mode, you can set their promo attitude, which is actually something I'm very glad that they added from after previous games. One of the things you may have heard me mention in one of my previous, it was probably one of the 2K17 videos, is people should act differently during their promos, because not everybody acts the same. Some people have different personalities. You know, you have people like Bray Wyatt, for example, who's really creepy and esoteric with what he talks about, very metaphorical, a lot of gibberish and nonsense, basically. But creepy, kind of. And then you have people who are just really happy, or really energetic, or they're just really angry. You know, people have different personalities when they cut promos. So they actually added that. But not for the women, it seems. If you pick the promo attitude for women, you get two options: friendly and hostile. The only way you can change that is if you happen to be a created wrestler. So, for example, my girl Angel has all the different options available to her. So what the fuck happened here, and why don't the default or the real superstars who were actually officially put into the game, why don't they have all these options for the ladies? Yeah, but like I said, they have angry, stoic, which is just kind of, stoic. Kind of boring, I guess would be a good word to describe it. Being stoic is like being stone-faced. You don't really react to anything, you don't really get angry, you're not really happy or sad. Just stoic. It's a word often used to describe, like, the leaders of a group. Jason, the original Red Ranger from Power Rangers, was described as stoic. Leonardo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was often described as stoic. So that's that. Very happy, arrogant, creepy, scared, sad, athletic, confused, and casual. But those are your options. Now where the hell... Oh yeah, Mandy Rose. Perfect. Marcel Bartel... Maria. They have an old version of Maria in the game because I guess there was some showcase thing where... I don't know. But she also has an alternate attire for her managerial duties with her husband. There's Marina Shafir. Not very pretty. Maurice. Yeah, you'll notice I have Maurice set as a face. I'll get to that in a minute. Ah, you suck! You're a fucking jabroni. I hate Matt Hardy and his brother Jeff. Drugged up lunatics who should have retired from the business fucking years ago. And this whole woken or broken Matt Hardy gimmick is trash. Drug-fueled trash. And it makes a fucking cameo appearance in the doped-up, drugged-up, retarded-ass My Career mode. It's one of the reasons why the My Career mode sucks. Matt Riddle. He looks like shit. Just the character of him. In real life, he's a recent addition to the NXT roster. Another former MMA guy turned pro wrestler. He's known as the King of the Bros. He's supposed to be this super laid-back and chill dude, kind of like Rob Van Dam, how he used to be. I don't know if he's a stoner like RVD, but he probably is. He also wrestles barefoot for some reason. He made his debut on NXT at one of the TakeOver pay-per-views, beating Cassius Ohno. And this is probably the best creation of him I could find. His face looks like crap, but the outfit actually looks about right. Mia Yim, who she used to wrestle for TNA as well. Mickey James, of course. Mike Kanellis, Maria's husband. His name is Mike Bennett. Okay? That's the first problem I have with this. I don't know why they gave him her last name. I guess just so they could trademark it or whatever the fuck. They gave him a shitty gimmick. And for some reason he's on 205 Live. I don't know why, because the dude doesn't look like a cruiserweight. He looks like he's big enough to be a light heavyweight or a regular heavyweight. He should be wrestling for like the Intercontinental title, the US title, something like that. So you notice I have him on SmackDown and Warzone. Like I said, in actual WWE, he's on 205 Live. He actually just recently made a comeback. He was out for several months dealing with rehab from a drug problem that he had. And Maria was also out because of she was pregnant. She just recently gave birth to a child. I've always been a big fan of Maria. She's gorgeous. And there's The Miz, who is also set as a face. And you'll also notice his only enemy is Shane McMahon. That storyline happened in the WWE. I decided to run with it. But it's going to be a team feud, an intergender feud. The Miz and Maurice versus Shane, and who else but Shane's sister, Stephanie. That's going to be interesting. Old Miz, because of course him and Daniel Bryan, that's the reason for that. Mojo Rawley. You'll also notice something on there. For some reason, he wants to beat up Angel. Despite the fact that she's a woman, not a man. I don't know how the hell that happened. And Mojo is only set to being on Warzone because he just sucks so bad and I don't want him on Raw or SmackDown. I don't know why he has Angel as one of his enemies. I really don't know why. The other half of the Street Profits, Mustafa Ali, who's going to keep his ass on 205 Live, and he's not going to come anywhere near the World Heavyweight title. Sorry, dude. You're a cruiserweight. Naomi, Natty Neidhart, Nia Fat-Ass Jax. I don't give a fuck if you're related to The Rock. You suck. Period. I have her set to NXT and Warzone. My girl Angel is on Warzone, and Angel's going to be beating the fat piss out of this fat bitch. Nick Miller. There's my other dude, Nightmare, who you might remember. I also had to download a creation. I think he actually came with the name Nightmare. So if you search the name, you might actually be able to find the guy that I downloaded him from. I altered his coloring, and maybe a few little minor details. He came with that coat, with the hood on it. I just changed the colors and stuff. But, yeah. Gonna be setting him up. Other half of the Bellas, Nikki Cross, who for some reason... Oh, yeah. Cross is a heel, and she's feuding with Paige, who's a face. And I know Paige is retired because of her injury. But we're not going to let, a little thing like reality stop someone like Paige. No Way Jabrone, Noam Derp, Oni Lorcan, Dozovich, Paige, Shango Tango. Other half of the Iconics, the other half of the Clones, R-Truth. Old R-Truth, don't know why that is. I don't know if he had... Oh, him and Kofi Kingston. Old Kofi Kingston. Don't know what the deal is there, why they're even in the game, but oh well. Orton, old Orton, Macho Man, slightly newer Macho Man, Raul Mendoza, another guy from NXT that I had to download, Ravishing Rick Rude, Razor Ramon, Ray, Razor, the other half of the Authors of Pain, Rhino, old Ric Flair. This one doesn't have a year, so I don't know how old it is. 88 Flair, 91 Flair, and the model Rick Martel. I find that hilarious because his theme song's actually in the game, and it's just hilarious listening to it. Ricky Morton, legendary half. Well, I don't know how legendary he is, but was half of the Rock and Roll Express. Let's see, Ricky Morton and I don't remember the other guy. Ricky Steamboat from '87, from '94. Ricochet. He's going to stay in NXT. He shouldn't be on the main roster yet. Plus, I think he's extremely overrated. I do. Riddick Moss, another downloaded guy from NXT. Rikishi. Robert Gibson, that's the other guy. He's got kind of a wonky eye, apparently. Because his left eye, or at least it would be his left eye, kind of going off to the left. The Rock, Old Rock, Roderick Strong, Roman Reigns. Well, he managed to overcome his leukemia, and he's back. Yay. Nope. Rowdy, Rhonda, Cuntstain, Rowan, Rowdy Piper. Yeah. Rowe, the other half of the War Machines, or War Raiders. Ruby Riott. Somebody who's probably going to be unemployed here sometime soon, because from what I've heard, there's a few people who are on the chopping blocks in the WWE. People who are not asking for their releases, but they're going to be released anyways because of basically like spring cleaning. Lana is on the chopping block, and if Lana goes, Rusev's going with her. Rusev doesn't have a fucking career in the WWE anyways. He's ugly, he's a shit wrestler, and his promos are garbage. So, he can suck a dick. And the Rusev Day gimmick can eat my entire asshole. Shit. Pure shit. Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Sarah Logan, Sasha. The bitch that fucking ended Paige's career and is overrated as fuck. Scrawny little half pint. Fuck you, Sasha. I wish I could bring this up, but I actually heard something here a couple of weeks ago about a girl who was kind of a pop starlet in, I think it was either Brazil or some other Latin American country, but she was underage when all of this happened. She was in her like early teen years, if even that. And she was basically being exploited by her dad, who also had a failed music career. But when this girl would go on camera in her music videos and things, she had this persona that was very much like Sasha, where she pretended to be this boss bitch despite the fact that she was about 4.5 foot tall and was still a little girl just wearing big girl clothes and makeup. That's what I see when I look at Sasha Banks. A little girl pretending to be a big girl. She puts on her mom's frickin' clothes and makeup and thinks she's all grown up. You're a pipsqueak. You ain't shit, Sasha. Fuck you. The other half of the Revival, Sebastian Wolf, Rollins, Shane O'Douche, Shane Thorne, two different versions of Shawn Michaels, Shayna Baszler, the Great White Dildo, Shelton Benjamin, who I also have set as retired because I don't know why he fucking came back to the WWE. His previous stints in the company were crap, and he's not very good. And he sucks at promos. So, nope. Nakamura, Sin Cara, Sonya Deville. I think Sonya Deville might be another MMA, or at least maybe that's her character. I don't know if she actually has any MMA background, but I think that's her character. Steph. I have her assigned to SmackDown only because of the feud between her and Shane versus Miz and Maurice. Stone Cold, Steve Cutler, 4 different versions of Sting, Stid, Tamina's lame ass, Tatanka, Buffalo, Tainara Conti, who's also Brazilian. I remember like reading her profile on WWE.com when I looked her up because I'm like, who the hell is this? Million Dollar Man, Tino Sabatelli, no idea about him. That jobber douchebag. I don't know how he still has a job with the company. He sucks. TJP, I believe, was another one of the people who got released. Actually requested his release. Don't care. Whatever. Ciampa, Tony Nese. 3 different versions of Triple Ass Clown. Trish, Tucker Knight. Ty Dillinger was another guy who asked for his release and got it, and I never thought he was that good anyways, so bye-bye. Tyler Bate. I think he's on 205 Live, I'm not really sure, but Tyler Bate and that other jabroni, Pete Dunne, really they should be on the NXT UK brand, which you notice I don't have because I couldn't give a shit less about it. Tyler Breeze, Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker. Undertaker might be coming into the universe mode later on, but right now I have him basically set as retired. Old Undertaker, Biker Taker, Classic Taker, Big Van Vader, Vampiro, Vanessa Bourne. She's in NXT. Velveteen Dumbass, Victor of the Ascension, Victor Craven, Wesley Blake, and of course my guy Xander Drax, who I'm still finishing him up. I managed to kind of create the Venom Punisher logo for his shirt because I wanted it to be like that. I still need to finish up my move set, and I have to copy and paste it over to my other people: Angel, Jago, Nightmare, Sebastian Wolf, and then I have to tweak the move sets for each of those people to give them their correct finishing moves and signature moves and taunts and things like that. And then I have to create their entrances. That's really the stuff that's keeping me from getting this whole thing started. The move set takes so goddamn long to do because there's so many moves to do, and I've been trying to like break it down because it gets so tedious after a while going through picking move after move after move after move after move. I've been trying to break up the tedium by doing like one little group at a time. So like I do like, I think last night I did a couple of groups like diving moves or apron moves or something like that, and I just got all of those together and got them out of the way, and I'm like, okay, I got those, save and exit, do another bunch of them later. Xavier Woods, Zack Ryder, and that's the end of the list. Oh, right, tag team. I wanted to set up Sasha and Bailey. Do they have like a team name? Like something they're known as besides just Bailey and Sasha? Team Happy Go Lucky Fuck Farts or some shit? I don't know. Either way. Bailey. And I know it's probably pointless to even have them set as a team when there's not going to be any women's tag team titles. But the way I see it, there's already the Iconics, the Bellas. I don't know if... I don't think I have Nia Jax and Tamina set up as a team, but I'm probably going to. Don't know what else to call them, so... Bailey and Banks. Actually... There's a little tip for you. I've actually found this out through experimenting and having to edit the custom titles, the championship belts that I've downloaded. You can actually use the right thumbstick on the thing. You down on it, you move downward. You don't click in the stick, but you move it downwards, and it'll actually move the cursor in these text boxes down to the next level. And it actually helps when you're doing the custom created titles, because with their names, because when you have title matches, it'll show like the graphic that comes up, it shows the belt, and then it shows the name. If you have the text where a word is broken up between the two lines, it'll actually show up that way when you do that, and it looks really bad. So instead, you use the cursor to move it down, and you do the last word all on the bottom row, so it just looks better. So there's Bailey and Sasha. And then we'll do Nia Jax and Tamina. I don't know if this is actually in the game. Bad Girls. If I remember correctly, at one point it was more of a stable than a team, but they were called Team Bad. B-A-D was like an acronym. I don't know what the hell it stood for. It's not really an acronym, they're just bad. They suck. Any other teams that I need to do? I don't think so. And it won't matter because, again, the ladies are not going to have tag titles. In the options, automatic rivalries, men's Royal Rumble winners rivalry auto, women's Royal Rumble winners rivalry auto, Money in the Bank cash-in title rematch rivalry off. During the simulation at some point, or possibly it was there at default, I think Braun Strowman was set as the Money in the Bank holder. He had the briefcase. All these other things. The intro I have turned off because that always created problems with the stupid copyright flagging shit on YouTube. Yeah. I actually had to go in and delete the Money in the Bank because they're considered titles in the game. Like, you can go in and you can actually set as a Money in the Bank. There's two different ones, and I don't even know what the difference is, whether one is supposed to be for women or one's supposed to be for men. You can also create your own custom Money in the Bank briefcase, which is with its own design, which is just kind of stupid. In any event, I think that's really all that I wanted to show you guys, and all the ranting that I wanted to do about all the stupid storylines they have going on in the WWE. But And I know this video is probably not very interesting considering I'm not actually playing the game. I'm just ranting and raving and showing you the different people and the rosters and the tag teams and the titles and the rivalries and all that shit. Not news. Calendar. Yes. We are at the beginning of April, the first week, and then we'll go into the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view, which I do not give a shit about. And then the second week, and that will have WrestleMania, which I really should move WrestleMania to the end of the month, because pay-per-views really shouldn't be at the beginning of the month. It's one of the problems with the WWE. They don't know how to fucking schedule shit, apparently. No. Match table? Oh, right, the match tables. You can set, like, the percentages of things, of different match types that are kind of likely to happen on any given show. I should probably change that for Warzone and make those into a lot of hardcore and extreme matches, although, I don't know. You can't just move the show. Oh well, I don't really care at the end of the day. But yeah. Yeah, the My Player mode. You have to create a completely new character to play the My Career mode too. You can't use like a pre-existing person that you created. And you can only do men because there's no women's story mode yet. All this bullshit they talk about equality and they still haven't gotten that much. I would really just like to see, if I could go on another little rant here, I would really like to see them reconfigure the universe mode. You could get rid of the My Player thing, or at least the My Story mode thing, because it's horseshit. Take the universe mode and add in other options from other modes from previous games. For example, a lot of people want to see the return of, what was it called? GM mode, where you basically were the general manager. It was essentially a lot like the TEW game that I mentioned before. You're supposed to be in control of stuff. You pick out your roster, who you want to be working. You're basically one of the general managers, either Raw or SmackDown. And I think there may have been a game where you could do ECW as well. Possibly, but either way. I mean, you essentially already have all those tools anyways. You control who's on the rosters. You can control whether they're face or heel. You know. It's really weird. But being able to trigger the universe mode cutscenes manually would be something that would be nice. Because again, I mentioned before, the breakup of the bar and the formation of the Kings of Wrestling is something I would really want to be able to make manually happen. And I don't think I can because of the constraints of the game. Also, another thing that they could add that would be really interesting would be, several years ago, there was a game, and I have to grab it real quick because I actually have a copy of this game. Way back on the original Xbox. This was back before they were the WWE 2K games, and it was back when you had a different game on each console. Xbox had its own games, and the PS2 had its own games, the SmackDown vs. Raw series, and then the Nintendo GameCube had the Day of Reckoning games, and they had a bunch of other, which I also have the Day of Reckoning games as well. Excuse me. But back on the original Xbox, you had this game, which the camera will not focus on. There you go. WWE Raw 2. The camera's also backwards, so it's hard to read that. But it's WWE Raw 2, which I've actually heard a lot about the behind-the-scenes stuff about this game, and how the developers of the game intentionally put out a crappier, older version of the game before they had worked out bugs and stuff. They put out a crappy version of the game instead of the better version of the game that they had, that had, you know, less bugs and it worked better and it played better and stuff like that. They put out a crappy version intentionally because they were being shafted by the publisher on how much money they were getting paid for the game. So they said, if we're going to get shafted on our pay, we're going to put out a crappier version of the game. Fuck you. Doesn't really matter a whole bunch because I still like that game. And one mode in particular, I don't really remember what the mode was called, My Career or something like that. It was kind of similar to the Universe mode, although there were a bunch of differences. Number one, you basically picked one wrestler to play as. I think it was actually called Season Mode. But you picked one wrestler to play as, and it could be a man or a woman, it could be a real wrestler, one of the ones that was included with the game, or one of the ones that you created. You picked this wrestler, not to mention the fact it was also multiplayer. You could have, I think, up to 4 people playing this season mode at the same time, and each one had their own character that they were playing as, and their own storylines and feuds and all that other stuff. Or you could team up as a team and do that stuff. But when you went through the season mode, you know, you show up at a show, your character, of course, is signed to a particular brand, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. NXT wasn't even a thing back then, so it didn't exist. I don't think ECW was a thing at the time, so it wasn't included. So you basically just had Raw and SmackDown. And you would show up at the show, and if you were booked in a match, which you not always were, you know, but if you were booked in a match, you could do stuff before the match if your match wasn't first on the card. There was other things you could do, like during every segment of the show, like there's 7 matches or whatever, and then maybe promo segments and whatever the fuck. During each segment that wasn't your match, you could go off and do other stuff. You could rest because your character actually had like an energy bar. You needed to have plenty of energy when you went out for your match, or you'd be tired. Right? It makes sense. So you could go do a couple of things, go talk to other people, try to build relationships, you know, form friendships, allies, you know, or you could antagonize other people and form like a rivalry with somebody. There was a bunch of different things you could do. And then before your match, you could rest to get your energy back that you had used doing the other stuff. You go out and you do your match, and then after your match, you still have some time, unless you were in the main event, you know, you could go and do other stuff. It would be really nice to see some of those ideas used in the universe mode. Being able to actually affect things. Like, one of the things you could do, if you wanted to, like, make a rivalry with somebody, you could essentially attack them backstage, and that would take up some of their energy. If they were booked in a match later on, you could beat them down 3-4 segments in a row before their match, and they'd be tired for their match, and then you could actually go out and interfere in the match too, cost them the match, and during the whole time you're building this rivalry with this person. So, yeah. It'd be interesting to see some of those things added into the universe mode. actually being able to pick a particular person that you're playing as opposed to just being able to like control everything, which I think is kind of weird. One thing I do want to look at real quick. I mentioned previously, oh yeah, there's CM Punk, Shield versions of the 3 members of the Shield. Oh yeah, and then there's this girl named Rhea Ripley, who looks like the female version of Pete Dunne, which is kind of funny. They have the same horrible hipster hairdo with the half-shaved head. Yeah. Chody Rhodes. Kenny Omega. Anyways, oh yeah, Superstars. Wanted to see if I could find the guy who I used as the basis for Sebastian Wolf, because I wanted to give credit to the guy who created him. Now again, he should look exactly the same, almost exactly the same, as the way I have him in my thing. Next page. And like I said, I had found this same character in a previous version of the game. I think it was 2K18. Okay, didn't actually find him. That's weird. Either I went past him and just missed him, or perhaps I'm looking under the wrong spelling of the name. Perhaps the E was left out. Try that one. Omega Wolf, which kind of looks close, but not quite. I think there's like an entire faction of these guys. Maybe. I don't know. Blood Wolf. Another one of Omega Wolf. Grim Wolf. Night Wolf. There's a lot of these dudes who use wolf. And I know I'm not really being original myself, basically just stealing somebody else's creation. But that's why I kind of wanted to give the dude credit. Because like I said, I didn't make him, I just kind of modified him a little bit. Oh, come on, he's in here somewhere. Some of these are kind of badass looking. Might have to look through a few pages of these. Man. How far back do I gotta go? Oh. Baron Corbin? Baron Corbin don't have that much hair on his head or on his face. Okay, like seriously, I should have found him by now. Oh shit. Wolfpack. I don't know. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to find him. And I might even be wrong about his name originally being Wolf. I don't know. I'd really love to give the guy credit, but I can't seem to find it. Either way, that's going to conclude episode 0 of WWE 2K19. Part 1 will hopefully come sometime soon as I can get the moveset finished. Like I said, basically what I do with my created people. I make one moveset for my main dude, Xander Drax, and then I copy paste it into everybody else, and then I go into everybody else and I modify different moves, their finishers of course, signature moves, taunts, and maybe some other little moves that are like specific to them, because I want them to have their own little, flavor to them. I don't want them to have all the same moves, but mostly the same moves. Basically, it's just to help me kind of keep track of what moves they have and how to do them, because I like them to be the same, so I know what moves I'm doing. Because if I go having everybody have completely custom, completely different movesets, I'm never going to be able to keep all the shit straight. So I just keep it all mostly the same, but keep their big stuff, their signatures and finishers and taunts different and specific to each character. But yeah, I have to do the movesets, and then I have to do the entrances for all my people. Excuse me. Once I get all of that done, even though the entrances probably won't matter, because with the stupid copyright flagging shit on YouTube, I probably won't be able to show people's entrances other than maybe my own people, so maybe I'll show them like once or twice. Who knows? But we will get into that, and I will basically be continuing the storylines that I had way back in 2K17. If you remember back in 2K17, I had just finished beating the ever-loving shit out of JBL. So that storyline's done, that chapter is done. We're going to move on to the next chapter, which was going to be my character Drax going after Brock Lesnar. But since he's involved in a feud with Rollins, what I could do is I could have Drax interfere in that match and help Rollins win the title, hence pissing off Lesnar and having him come after me. So, yeah. I could do that, or I could do something else. I did also want to have him have a feud with The Undertaker around WrestleMania time. But either way, hopefully sometime soon I will be able to get all this going and we'll be able to start doing that. But until then, I will be seeing you later. I have been your boy Jay, the Howling White Wolf of YouTube. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. We will see you next time for more 2K19. Thank you and good night.